Hello, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, I'm going to be teaching more about Photoshop basics. I'm going to be going over a few different tools in this video using this image of the good guy I drew in another lecture. With the bad guy, go check that one out if you want to learn how to do different kinds of characters using specific shapes. In this video, I'm going to be teaching you about a few different tools, such as a zoom tool, the brush tool, and the Lasso tool. So I've got my guy here, I've imported him. It's a little bit low image quality, but that's not going to hinder the rules that I'm going to be teaching here. So here's a zoom tool. Let's go over this first. The hotkey is Z. So you'll see a magnifying glass here. What this allows you to do is zoom in and out of your picture. So if you hold Alt and you scroll up, you can see that the magnifying glass has a negative sign. So if you scroll up, it zooms in. If you scroll down, it scrolls out. Very simple tool. If you let go of Alt and you scroll, you can see that I'm going vertical. And if I hold Control and scroll down, you can see I go right. If I scroll up, I go left. So a very simple tool, but it's just very good to learn how to do this and use the hand tool at the same time. So by switching between, you can get around your picture very easily. If you're not using a Wacom tablet, it's something that you really need to know how to do really quickly. So let's go over the Lasso tool. So if you click up here, click and hold, you'll see the drop down menu. This is the Lasso tool menu. Hotkey is L. If you click L, it will create the Lasso tool. And what this does for you is creates a selection tool that you can click and drag around any curves that you like. And you want to connect it at the end. And that's going to create a selection for you. Now, if you press delete, it'll delete whatever you have selected. You can do Control D to deselect. Now, one thing you can also do, and I haven't covered this yet, is you can click select and click inverse. And that will select the complete opposite of what you have. And if I press delete, it's going to delete the rest of my picture. Usually you don't want to do that because sometimes you'll have little tiny lines everywhere from where the selection was. So the inverse will select immediately on the opposite of that line, so you will have those little lines. Just something to remember if you're trying to do something like that. Now, apart from that Lasso tool, we have the polygonal Lasso tool. This is straight lines and can be done by clicking. So if I click once, I can drag anywhere. And I do like this one because it creates those nice edges. So you get those nice clean edges with that Lasso tool. And the Lasso tool is just a lot more customizable than using the marquee tools and the quick selection tools. It's a lot more customizable and grabbing the areas that you really want to separate from each other. So next, let's look at the brush tool. The brush tool is right here, and if you're painting or drawing, this is going to be your most used tool. So you can click and hold here. The brush tool is what we're going to be going over. So up here you'll see all the different options for your brushes. You have your presets. You'll have all your different kinds of brushes here. These are some general brushes that come with Photoshop. Let's click hard, round, pressure, opacity, and flow. So Photoshop has the ability to do pressure sensitivity, and the harder you press on your tablet, the better it will look. I suggest if you're trying to do art on the computer, you need to get a pressure sensitive tablet. It's just pretty much just a requirement. You're not going to get the kind of quality that you want without one. You can get some pretty inexpensive ones, but if you're looking to do this more professionally, I would suggest just invest an appropriate amount of money to buy a good tablet that's gonna last you a long time and produce what you want. You don't want to be fighting with your media. You want it to work for you. You just want to be focused on the bigger picture. So you can see how this looks. It's very see-through, and that is because of our different options here. I'll show you one more thing. Soft round. This is great for doing highlights and shadows. It has that fuzzy look to it. We can change the opacity so it's even more see-through, and you might have to layer it up if you want to do very fine shading and things like that. You'll want to play with the opacity of your brushes. You can change the flow. So that I'm pressing the same as that last line. The flow is essentially how much is coming out. It's like if you were using a air gun, basically. It's just shooting out less particles of your paint. Those are really the main ones. Smoothing, I don't use very often. I don't crank it up like that because it lags behind my brush, and I typically don't like to use it. And I find that usually you just want to keep your smoothing off. It's not very useful in my opinion. You just really want to use the regular brush tools. You want to play with the opacity and you want to play with the flow. So also there's different types of brushes that you can use. You can download all kinds of different brushes. You can import different kinds of brushes. You can download them on the internet, and I will show you in another video how you can go about doing this. There's a brush pack by Houston Sharp, and it's free to download on DeviantArt. He's graciously provided it for free for artists, and I love the brushes that he has, and I'll show you how to download that pack and import it into Photoshop. And I'll also be showing you how to import font files in that same video. Okay, well that's it for the tools in this video. I hope you learned a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.